Don't move. It won't hurt you.
Hey everybody, welcome back. David Egon here, and right now I am open by chance, and what I am opening up with for you here today is something I've been really looking forward to and really nervous about at the same time, and I'll explain why in a minute. The Mezco 1/12 Collective Ghostbusters set, which was a numbered set. As you can see here, they only made as many as were ordered. And this is set number 117 of 1,981. I was not aware that they were doing it that way, but yeah. When I first ordered this, I did not know that they were cutting the numbers that tight. Now this box has already been opened, and I'm going to go ahead and get into this. And I was a bit nervous. Now this box has been split open on the bottom already. And you see they did take the time to pack it. They get 1/2-inch foam all the way around it, and it is basically a huge tin inside. I'm going to go ahead and dump this out. Now I was nervous about it because I do follow a lot of the Mezco message boards, and there have been some problems, some quality control problems from Mezco apparently, that several of these sets, people have been complaining that their set arrived incomplete. That inside the container, let me just go, this already popped open anyways, I'll go ahead and pull this plastic off. That inside the container, they got 2 of the same head on certain figures, or that the uniforms were wrong. Like you see here, everybody basically has the same uniform, but they all have a name tag, and that they were getting like 2 figures with identical name tags, or that they were getting 2 of Stance's heads instead of a Stance and a Peter Venkman. I've been hearing complaints like that, so I'm a little nervous that there might be an issue. And Mezco, true enough, let me get this sleeve off here so we can move along. True enough, Mezco had a lot of quality control issues last year. It's a nice tin, and it arrived in good shape. It was well packed, I'll give them that. Super 7 could learn a lesson from them. My wife, LPH, just got something from Super 7 not too long ago, and they literally just crammed 6 items into a box. She was very upset. But yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, but we're going to go ahead and expand this open. Come up here, and so we can look down on it when I get this out. There we go. And yes, she asked me for the tin, and I told her no. No tin for you. And we'll go ahead and hurry up and take a look at this and make sure everything is good. And it's a big set. And it's a shame that they're having quality control issues, because this is like the most expensive 1/12 set that has been produced to date, with a retail tag on it, come on, of $300. The original retail on this is $300 from Mezco, plus postage. And let's see here. This is them in the tray. You see you got 4 packs, a bunch of batteries, Slimer. Everybody gets 4 extra hands, pieces of equipment, 2 extra heads each, and Venkman, Stance, Spengler, and Zeddemore. So yeah, it looks like they're all in the right uniforms, because that was one of the complaints. and it looks like I've got all the heads, because some people were getting 2 of Peter and some people were getting 2 of Stance, and I was concerned, but it looks like everything is all right. Anyway, as I was saying, they had a lot of quality control problems last year, especially discolorations on their Hulk, and the camera's shaking because there's a cat down there, see, clawing at the tripod. Anyways, the Hulk with discolorations on the Hulk and other quality problems, and then issues with Catwoman. I think we all have heard that one. Her knees being broken inside the package, or easily breaking once it was taken out. Golly, if I can get this out of here. Here we go. Double tray. And there are the 4 stands, the instructions, and the proton streams, as well as 4 claw arms for posing. So let's go ahead and get them out of the packaging and take a closer look at them, and then we can proceed to check their articulation and their other functions.
Are you sure this'll work? No, but I figured since you're the one always coming up with plans, it was my turn to have some fun.
And here we are back with our classic Ghostbusters unboxed with all of their equipment. Everything out in the open. And in a moment we'll be testing articulation. I'll test it on just one of them because there's way too much going on for doing all 4. I mean, they all have the same basic body, and it's a skinny body. It looks like the old Joker body, really. Been really looking forward to getting this set. Ghostbusters is classic 80s. Released June 8, 1984. June 8th, 1984, and then Ghostbusters 2 on June 16th, 1989. And Ghostbusters is not an original concept by any means. That's why I have this out here. You see right there, the Ghostbusters was originally a Filmation production, CBS television, 1975. 3 ghost detectives, Spencer, Tracy, and Kong, who, guess what, had equipment that could detect, track, and trap ghosts. Sound familiar? Basically, the Universal Studios that produced the Ghostbusters films made an agreement with Filmation for the usage. Which, of course, is where the cartoons come from also, because in, when was it, 1986? September 8th, 1986, Filmation came out with Filmation's Ghostbusters, the cartoon, Saturday mornings. Let's take a look at some of these accessories. There's a ton of stuff. And then literally a week later, like September 13th, 1986, the real Ghostbusters came out, which was this series. Got a screaming Spengler, and if you were wondering, yes, his glasses, if I can get the reflection in there, there is glass in the glasses. Well, plastic anyway, but, or vinyl. Glasses do not come off. Screaming head. A very 80s looking radio, which all 4 of them have an identical radio. Very basic. All 4 of them have the same 4 extra hands. And I'll go ahead and open one of these up. I didn't open any of these hand kits. If I can open it. Come on, get out of there. There we go. So 2 gripping hands, and 2 reaching hands. And they have fists. Very basic, actually, the hands. Because they are gloves, they're like rubber gloves, so there's no heavy detail to it. You can't see veins or fingernails. They have fists affixed to the figures already. Ghost trap on a cable. And it does not look like it opens. I don't think it opens. There's the handle. Good paint detail on it. The real Ghostbusters cartoon lasted for 7 seasons. 7 seasons. They're proton streams, which plug into the end of the nozzle on the proton pack. And there is a light up feature, so they're supposed to light up, but my experience with Mezco with these things is that they don't work very well. There's Zetamore, sort of a bewildered looking extra head. Walkie-talkie, basic, for 2-way radio, and the, what is it, the PKE meter? And this does work. It does open and close. Which is a nice touch. His 4 hands. First look at the proton pack, which is actually very highly detailed. There's a lot going on here. And it does come off. It is a cable. This is a wire cable for flexibility. It's a little clip so that you can attach it, and a push button because it is battery operated. I only put the batteries in one, and it was difficult. The battery door is right there. It's very hard to access it and get the batteries in. Another thing I noticed that I don't like is these are all vinyl straps. I would have preferred cloth straps because over time these will wear out and tear. So I'm disappointed that they used vinyl on that, although the packs themselves look pretty good. I'll be taking a closer look at the figures here in a moment also. Venkman's holy crap, I've been slimed face. Good detail on this. Good coloration. It may look a little brighter in the video because of the lights, but the skin tone is actually a lot better in person. And they do have his scars, because you know Peter, or rather Bill Murray, his skin's not the best. Let's just put it that way. He's got a lot of pock marks, and that is on here. The pock marks and the facial scar that he has are present. So they did follow through with that. His little plunger thing that he was playing with in the movie. This feels very delicate, actually. It's just empty plastic tubing. Be careful with that one. Another proton pack. Which one lights up? This one I put the batteries in, so you can see the meter piece there. That part lights up, and the end of the gun. And we can go ahead, since I'm holding this, put one of these on here and see if it makes a difference. And it's got a little tooth in it. There's a tooth on the gun that slides right there. And turn the pack on, and nothing. Shut the lights just to be sure. Cut the lights, and it falls off. Doesn't appear to be coming through there at all. But that's fairly common with these. I don't even know why Mezco bothers to do it. Otherwise, the back of the pack lights up pretty good. Although I don't know if I would really want to bother to put the batteries in all of them, because for the most part you won't be able to see the packs when displaying the figures. An extra stance head, kind of a bewildered Dan Aykroyd head there. Like, what the hell's going on? Good likeness. His night vision goggles. Good detail. Again, all vinyl straps, so a lot of potential for damage there. And his radio, of course. Now we could take a closer look at the actual figures here. Egon Spengler. Harold Ramis is Egon Spengler, who died not too long ago. And that's part of the reason why you ended up with a reboot of Ghostbusters. Actually, it's Bill Murray's fault, because Bill Murray couldn't make up his mind. He kept saying he was in, and then he was out, and then he was in, and he was out. And they said, well, maybe we can just do it without Bill Murray. And then Harold Ramis died. And they were like, oh, alright, well, maybe we could just reboot the film. And that was a bad idea, obviously. Ernie Hudson as Winston Zeddemore here. Probably one of the best likenesses on all four of them right there. Really good head sculpt on Ernie Hudson there. Real basic zipper tab. I wish the zipper tab looked a little different, but that's not major. The belt is vinyl. The belt is vinyl and the tubes are vinyl. You know that when you have Dan Aykroyd sitting in interviews saying, please, I promise, the movie's going to be funny, that you're in trouble. Bill Murray, who originally was not supposed to be in the film. Actually, the part was written for John Belushi. John Belushi was supposed to play the part of Peter Venkman. But of course, John Belushi died of a drug overdose in 1982, so they had to recast the part, and that's how Bill Murray ended up with it. And you gotta wonder, how would the film have come out with John Belushi as Peter Venkman? Do you think it would have been better or worse? I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. It was a fun, nostalgic movie. It's a classic 80s film, so I can't really say anything bad about it. But I wonder if it could have been even better if John Belushi hadn't died. And of course, there is Dan Aykroyd, who is also one of the writers of the film, as Raymond Stantz. Raymond Stantz. One problem I had already with these is the stands again, and I thought that Mezco had that licked. The little foot peg that they're standing on, their boots, they don't want to fit on those pegs very well at all. I had a lot of problems getting them to balance on the pegs, and that's an ongoing problem with Mezco figures that recently, let's go ahead and grab Egon here to test articulation, that they've done a lot better with, you know, getting them to stand on those. But these old style heel foot pegs, they don't work very well on the stand, and they don't want to stay on them. Elbow pads, and that is an elastic holding the elbow pad on. Basically everybody's got the same uniform except that there is a name tag. So let's take a look. Obviously this is one piece for the neck So you're getting just the basic head articulation. Actually, it's just coming right off. May as well put his screaming head on. There we go. That's very loose, actually. That is surprisingly loose. There we go. It's in there, but it comes out easy. Basic head movement, not as good as when they have double jointed necks. Arm movement. It's a little tight on the shoulders. And as is typical with these figures, the jumpsuit is limiting shoulder rotation. It's jamming up. There's the Ghostbusters symbol on there. It's a patch. I mean, rather, it's a sticker. Ironed on, looks like. Elbow. Single elbow joint. It's not a double jointed elbow. Sorry, guys. And it bunches up real good, so you can't get his arm up too much. You know what? That means he can't reach over to grab his, he can't reach up to grab any equipment. Or does it go this way? It goes this way. So yeah, he can't even reach up and grab the arm from the Proton Pack. He can't grab the gun because he can't reach it. That's kind of a drawback. Swivel is good. Forearm and wrist rotation is okay. Pretty basic. It's really kind of a very basic figure. I mean, most of what you're paying for is the franchising for the Ghostbusters here. The torso, oh geez, very stiff. Very stiff movement. And I'll pick up another one here and see if he feels any different. I can get him back on the foot peg without him falling over. Pick up Raymond's stance here. And yeah, because they all should have the same body. Same issues with the torso, barely moves. Between the jumpsuit and the belt being there, he doesn't want to move. Splits to about there. Any further and you're probably going to rip the pants. Backward and forward leg motion. Some motion, limited by the equipment. So you're not, the belt is obstructing a lot of it going forward, and then the jumpsuit obstructs it going back. Knees are double jointed knees, so they can pray. Double jointed in the knee. The swivel right there. Ankle articulation works, but it's a little tight. Forward and backward. That's good enough. See how they even painted the zipper on the inside of the boot. The old Air Force quick release boots there. And we'll go ahead and get them into a pose here really quick and just see how that looks. Okay, here we are back with our Mezco 112 Collective Ghostbusters in a bit of a pose, in about as much of a pose as I could get them into, because, you know, I don't work for Mezco, and I'm going to give you the good with the bad here. I'm just going to be honest about it. For the money, I'm not so sure about this set. I like the Ghostbusters. I like the look of the figures, but they're practically non-functional, especially after these packs were put on. Because they are thick vinyl straps, they are not cloth or elastic straps, like you can, let me close up on Spengler here, they won't stay in place. And they add even further restriction to the arm movement. Also, because of the foot pegs, it was very difficult to get them balanced, even in the simple poses that I have them in. I mean, that's the most dynamic pose out of all four of them, is with Egon in kind of an almost stumbling or jogging sort of a position here. And it's like, okay, well, maybe you can use the arms like I did with Peter Venkman there. But then with the pack and all the equipment on, where do you put the arm? I mean, that's the best I could do, was to get the arm like sort of across his hip under the pack. There's nowhere to connect the arm. And I find that a lot with many of these figures. They give you an arm and you can't use it. Like Hulk and Darkseid came with an arm, and the figure is so big the arm won't even hold him anyways. It was difficult to put the packs on, getting the arms through. Another problem I've run into is with the hand, changing out the hands. It's not hard to change them out, but they don't want to stay on. Let me back up here a little bit, get that in focus. You see how it's coming off of the ball joint? The gauntlet part is actually attached to the jumpsuit directly, and some of the stitching comes through onto the ball joint. And I think you can see it better on Raymond Stance's figure. If I can close up on that arm, you can actually see the threading coming through there. You see that white line? And it obstructs the hands from fitting onto the ball joints. So that's a bit of a problem. Oh, and I had neglected to show you, of course, that it comes with a translucent Slimer with a lot of articulation in the mouth there. You can actually see down into the mouth and see his tongue in there. So they did a really good job on the Slimer, and he comes on a little stand. Oop, too close. Comes on a little stand so he can float there. The beams are heavy and they fall off of the guns. And of course, the light does not shine through them. So we're back to the old problem with Mezco 112 figures, whereby they look really good, but the articulation leaves a lot to be desired. There's very limited what I can do with them as far as posing. This headpiece, the night vision goggles, were very difficult to get onto his head. Very difficult to get onto his head. And I'm pretty sure that if you put them on and off a few times, you're going to start having paint rubs in the hair. Another thing is with the neck joints, and I had already previously mentioned it, these heads, if you move them around, they start coming off. They're not rooted as tightly as they could be. And when you consider that, you know, it was a year out waiting for these figures, that these are problems that could have been adjusted and taken care of, and they just weren't. They just weren't. I didn't have the other quality control problems that I've been hearing about, but I still have my concerns because I do like a well-articulated figure. I like it to be very posable. So you're always off balance with that. You can have a figure that looks really good and doesn't pose, or a figure that doesn't have so much clothing or so many accessories that you can pose quite a bit. And it's kind of a toss-up. In theory, these were only $75 a piece because it's $300 for the set, so it's $5 cheaper per figure than Mezco normally charges, which is $80 a figure standard, unless it's some kind of a deluxe figure and it costs more. You know, like a light up figure might be $100, things like that. Or a really big figure like the Darkseid, the retail on Darkseid was $180. It was the most expensive individual Mezco 112 figure yet for retail pricing. Overall, I do like these. I'm a fan of classic 80s retro stuff. I do like the movie. The first one was better than the second one, but I do like the movie. There's rumors that Bill Murray's back on board again, and that there might be a Ghostbusters 3, or at least an entry into the original Ghostbusters timeline as much as possible. And they're just going to forget all about the reboot that did very badly. And back to this again. If you've never seen or heard of the Filmation's Ghostbusters live action Saturday morning television show, you're missing something, because this show is freaking hilarious. It's funnier than the movie. I enjoy this better than the movie. I showed this to my son. I have a son who's 21, and he loved it. He was like, "Wow, Dad, you're right. This show is freaking hilarious. It really is." It's Spencer, Tracy, and Kong, starring Larry Storch and Forrest Tucker. Forrest Tucker, the actor, not Forrest Tucker, the bank robber. But yeah, Larry Storch and Forrest Tucker, who both worked together on F Troop. And Forrest Tucker, as a matter of fact, he must have starred in over 100 films. Honestly, he goes all the way back to the days of vaudeville. And then Bob Burns. No, not Bob Burns, the drummer from Lynyrd Skynyrd. Bob Burns, the actor and infamous vintage archivist, if you've never heard of him. But this show is hilarious. It's worth taking a look at. I just wanted to share that. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's worth the price point? I mean, basically, I can't do a whole lot with it as far as posing. I'm going to get them set up. I mean, we almost got our museum room ready, and I'll be displaying my Mezcos. And I have a lot of Mezco figures, and most of them are just sitting in boxes because there isn't much I can do with them right now. But I'm going to go ahead and display them. I do like the figures. I just wish that they were more posable, that you could do more with them. And they have so much equipment. I mean, I got it all laying over here, but there's so many pieces that come with this set, hands and extra accessories and all the little goodies. And I just wish I could do more with them than just kind of have them standing there. I'm pretty sure I've got them balanced on those pegs okay right now. And like I said, Egon is in the best position as far as a dynamic pose. But I'm pretty sure that eventually it's going to weaken and he'll topple over, which means I would have to use the arms, and they just don't look right, and they don't connect right. And you can see the belts are already coming undone. I just noticed that on Peter Venkman. Let me get in there. See the belt has opened. They won't stay closed. It's that hard vinyl. I mean, it's not that hard, but it's hard enough. It's stiff enough that it just doesn't cooperate with the figures. So I like the look of them, but I'm kind of disappointed in the articulation and posability. But what do you think? What do you think of this set? Is this a set that you have or that you want? Is this a set that you are going to keep an eye out for? Because, you know, it might go down aftermarket. You might be able to pick a set of these up for a lower price. So let me know what you think of the Mezco 112 Collective Ghostbusters. Tell me in the comment section down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up. Easiest way to show your appreciation for the video. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're new. Check out some of the other videos. I do a lot of unboxing videos, including Mezco, and I'll showcase a lot of vintage toys from my collection. We have a weekly roundup that my wife and I do together. There's a lot of different things we do on the show, go to toy shows. So check it out. You might find something that you like. Find us on Instagram, Open by Chance on Instagram. And hey, thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.
Yes, come to me.
Why don't we go back to the office and think about this some more?
Because we are Ghostbusters, and Ghostbusters do not give up that easily. There has got to be a way through that door, Edward. Would you put that thing away and stop fooling around?